we are going live now.
Right.
So, hello and welcome to another live stream. It's been a good week. I'm Colin Monroe and this is Tony. Hello. Tony, how are you?
Oh, very good. Yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. So in these live streams that we're doing, we are talking about the course that we are currently writing, which hopefully will be available in a few weeks' time. And we've had quite an interesting week. Unfortunately, we have had to change the name of the course. Do you want to talk about that, Tony?
Yeah. So the original idea behind this course was that English, sometimes there's this idea that English is so complicated, so confusing, and that it doesn't make sense because every rule seems to have exceptions. Every different thing that you learn is just a list of all of these exceptions to the rules and all of these different things that don't always fit together very well. And we feel that in a way that this is true. There's a lot of complexity to English. But in another way, it's not true. There is an underlying logic to how English works. And so what we want to do with this course really is sort of dig down, peel back the layers of exceptions and confusing rules and things that don't seem to fit together to really go deeper and inside, because we believe that inside there's some simple rules that make everything kind of click together, that make everything else fit and make sense. And that's important because it's hard to learn something when it feels like it doesn't make sense. And so that's what we really feel like this course is going to do, is we're going to look at some simple rules that aren't always true. Like I said, there's different layers on top of this, and we're peeling those back and we're going inside to see what is at the core, because we think that what's at the core is pretty simple. It makes a lot of sense, and it's going to make all the other layers that you add on top make a lot more sense. So the name of the course is
now it's called Inside English.
Inside English.
Yeah. So it was called The Logic of English, and we did really like that name. Because nice. It really says, this is about how English makes sense. This is the logic, the science behind it, and that's what we really wanted the course to be about, how it actually works. So we were really disappointed when we had to change the name. I won't get into why, but but we eventually settled on Inside English, and still it was a little we weren't super enthusiastic about that name until the last couple of days that we've spent some time writing on this, and the concept of inside and under those layers has really sort of become part of what we've been writing, and so now Inside English does actually feel really appropriate and really useful as a name for the course.
For sure, yeah.
So we're still quite early on. We're just writing module 1.
Which is those core ideas that we're so excited about, and so we really want to get that right.
Yes. Now, I'd say module 1. That's not completely the beginning. We haven't really done almost nothing. There is a module 0, which is a sort of prerequisite stuff. Some defining some terms, and that is actually live. You can actually go to englishlanguageclub.co.uk and you can do that module now. It's very simple, very easy, but it will give you an introduction into what the course is going to be like in terms of how the material will be delivered and how you will interact with it. So it's still under the name Logic of English, but if you want to try that out, head on over to englishlanguageclub.co.uk and you'll see a link on the homepage to the course. So we've got some people watching now. So shall we have quickly say hello?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think sorry if I get your names wrong, but Fio, it says, "Am I late?" No, you're not late. We've only just got started. We did have some problems getting started, so we are a little bit delayed. But you're not late. You're very welcome. Gaspar, hi. He's one of our members. How are you? You're very welcome. Tony, that's you. Yeah, so that's everyone. There's more people watching I can see. So if you are watching, please say hi. Let us know where you're watching from. It'll be awesome to know that.
We had someone in the first stream, someone from Monaco and someone from Italy already. So very excited.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah, and somebody was also commenting about how some improvements to the website they've noticed, and yeah, that's true. So at the same time as writing this course, I have been updating the website in order to prepare it for the course and make it more centered around the course. So if you haven't checked it out, please do, and let us know what you think. So I'm having some technical issues again connecting to Tony. Tony, are you there? Okay, well, while I'm waiting for Tony to come back, I am going to... Yeah, I'll just keep talking to people in the chat. Sai Prasad, another member. Hello from India. Hello to you too. Great to see you. Let me just quickly... I'm going to switch to this screen. So... Try and get Tony back. Keep saying hello in the chat. Rajiv, hi sir. Hello to you. You're very welcome as well. AAA, hello from Poland. Hello to Poland. You're very welcome here too. So yeah, while we're waiting to get Tony back, let me know what if any. Whoops, hang on a minute. Let me try and bring that down. Hopefully. Yeah, let me know, if any, what problems you have with grammar. Are there any tenses that you find difficult? What do you... Is there anything in particular that you find difficult? Because that's what this course is all about. So, we've got Tony back now. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So Tony is back. There we are. Tony, welcome back. It's a difficult day on the technology side of things. But so I've just, in your absence, I was just asking people to say in the chat if there are any problems with grammar that they have, to let us know. Past continuous is something that someone's just AAA has just said. So past continuous. Anything we can say about that? What is it particularly about past continuous that might be difficult? What do you have problems with? And yeah, so Tony, what do you think? What might be difficult about the past continuous? Yeah, it's also there's also a concept called the narrative tenses, I think they're called, and the past continuous is one of those. So it's used really to sort of give context to something else. So you might say, it was raining, it was a dark night, and it was raining when the... Okay.
Is my audio?
No, you're back. That's my fault. So sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, we were talking about the past continuous. Tony was talking this. Do you want to say that again?
Whew, okay. So one of the things that's so complicated are difficult to get used to about the past continuous is that most of the time we don't talk about past events in the past continuous. We don't say, if you're talking, you don't, when you're telling a story, you're explaining what happened, you don't usually use the past continuous. What we use the past continuous for a lot of the time is as a time marker. So instead of saying, I got a call this morning tells you when it happened. Instead, you could say, I got a call while I was eating breakfast, right? Because the continuous is something that's in the middle of happening. So basically, you're saying, in the middle of breakfast, I got that call. And so that's what you use the past continuous for a lot of the time. Not so much to tell people what happened, but to tell people when something happened, what you were doing or what was happening while you were doing that or when that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and like as I was saying, which you did here, but yeah, it's often called a narrative, one of the narrative tenses. So it's used for telling stories. So it's useful for giving context to something else, or to sort of set the scene in a story. So yeah, okay. So back to Inside English, our upcoming course. So what have we been working on this week, Tony?
Well, we've been really working on the Module 1, where we have those core ideas that we feel like really dig down into the core of English that really show that logic and how they really do make sense, and peeling back the layers. Do we want to talk about what those 3 ideas are?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so the first is that there's a set sort of structure to how English sentences work, and that the way they change up, at first it seems like there's a lot of exceptions to it, but really there's only the 3. A positive structure to a sentence, a negative structure, or a question structure. And the key to realizing that structure is there is to watch the auxiliary verb. Yes. And what's happening to the auxiliary verb. In a regular positive sentence where you're saying something, the subject comes first, then the auxiliary verb, then the main verb. So I am, or we are live streaming, or you guys are watching, right? The subject, then the auxiliary, and then the main verb. And this works in all the different tenses.
Exactly. And this is really important. So, auxiliary verbs really are super important for understanding tense.
Yes.
Because, and I feel like through teaching English, and as I've used the various textbooks and talked to various students, people just don't seem to get that. And it's because of the way that the textbooks are written. There's too much focus on things like the form of the verb. We talk about the past tense form. So people think, oh, okay, so to put something, we need to put it into past tense form. So to make the past tense, you need to change the form of the main verb. So tense is all about the form of the main verb. That's not true. That's not the case at all. In fact, that's only the case with the past simple.
Yes. And there's exceptions to that, several exceptions.
Yeah. So that's what this course is all about. That is what we're referring to as one of those layers. The principal parts, the forms of the verbs. Those are one of those layers. That's a layer that just confuses what's actually going on inside English. And that's why we're really happy now that we've got this new name, Inside English, because it really gets to the heart of the matter. So what are some of the other... Go on.
Yeah, let's look at a couple of examples of those layers and how we're kind of digging through those to the simple rules that are underneath.
Yeah. So things that you as learners of English may have thought are important, or you may know about, but they may be just getting in the way of what is actually underneath. So, yeah, we've talked about that. Go on.
So, for instance, that structure of subject, auxiliary verb, and then main verb, a lot of times this is never even really mentioned particularly because oftentimes when we start learning English, we start with the simple tenses, especially present simple tense. And the irony is that that's not the easiest or maybe even the best example because it has more of the irregularities in the simple tenses and more of the exceptions. So, for instance, when we learn to use simple tenses, I wake up.
I go to work. I walk.
Sure, yeah.
I walk to work.
I walk to work. All of these things. There's no auxiliary verb there, and so we don't see that structure of subject, auxiliary, main verb that is really, really, really core to English.
Yeah.
We want people to really realize how important this structure of subject, auxiliary verb, main verb is, but oftentimes we don't start with that structure because we start with verbs that aren't using the auxiliary. But the catch is that auxiliary is still there. It's just kind of hidden. You can say
it sort
I
of
do
has
walk
a
to
it has
work.
a sort of placeholder. Its position
Yes.
is reserved for it, even if it isn't there.
Exactly.
And that's the strange thing, or one of the strange things about the simple tense. The present simple and the past simple is that you don't always need to use the auxiliary verb. And every tense has got something strange about it, and all of these little strange things are one of these layers that is just something that we need to learn, but when we do learn it, it takes us away from that core of what is in the heart of what English is all about and how it actually works.
And one of the things, I mean, really the point of this course is to not worry so much about all those layers that are full of exceptions and full of complexities that I think just confuse things a lot. But we are still going to talk about them. Even though the main point is to get past them, we still want to talk about them. So, for instance, you mentioned that kind of every tense has at least one kind of quirk, one kind of unique or interesting or odd thing about that tense. And that's one of the things we're going to be doing in this course is specifically mentioning what's different or what's odd or what's unique about each tense. So even though we're going to focus on those simple rules, we are going to talk about the things that are kind of layered on top of that as well.
Yeah. So we've had a few comments. Should we just go to the comments before we carry on?
Yeah, let's do that.
Mostly just a few hellos. So
and let's see, we've got some new countries. We got Sai from India, AAA from Poland, and Fyo from Myanmar. You've popped in before, so hello again, Fyo.
Kin Ma Luin says hello to you. Kang says hello as well. Ahad Vlogs, how can we know phonetics? Well, we'll get into some phonetics a bit later on. A lot of my channel is all about phonetics. But before we do, Ahad, if you've got any specific questions about phonetics, ask them now and we'll address them a little bit later on. Win Tai Tu Horong says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Sorry for getting your name completely wrong. So RoboJack, I think we need to get rid of those dashes. I think what you're referring to may just be a little bit of a glitch with how Skype is working. So the way we're working here is I'm in the UK in my house. Tony is in Canada, where he lives, and I'm talking to him on Skype, and we're bringing it all together and Skype and sending it over YouTube. But I think that the dashes are a glitch. If that's not what you're referring to, please let me know and be more specific, because it could be referring to dashes that we use when we write phonetic script or things like that. I'm not sure. So someone says, I think the man is old. Huh. Which man are you referring to? Which one of us? Well, I am getting a bit old. Yeah, but
we're both old to different degrees.
Yeah. Yes. AJ says you're back again. Yep, we're back. We had some issues earlier on, but we are back. And so are you. So you're very welcome back. It's good to see you.
Susanta's asking, when do we go live usually? And there's not a specific answer to that, because we have viewers who are interested in improving their English all over the world. So we've been kind of going around 2 o'clock Greenwich time, but we are going to be changing that up so that we are available at times for different people all over the world. Obviously, I'm in Eastern Canada. Colin is in the UK, so there's it's a little bit harder for us to, for instance, go prime time in some parts of the world, but we are going to be trying to change it up. So if you want to know when the next live stream is going to be, we're doing them on Tuesdays, but go to englishlanguageclub.co.uk/live, and there will be the link, the video will be embedded for the next live stream that we do, so you'll know what time it will be.
Yeah. So what we normally do when we decide when the next stream is going to be, I set it all up on YouTube. I go and I embed it in the page on the website, and so you can go there anytime.
In the comments here.
Okay.
So RoboJack was talking when he said there's too many dashes. He says that English has too many dashes. And this is a very good observation. I'm impressed. So he put 3 different dashes in his earlier comment. A short dash, a medium dash, and a long dash. And those, but I will let you know, for learning English, you don't, the difference between the 3 different dashes doesn't really matter. Those are things that are used by publishers, newspapers, magazines, and things like this, and they mean slightly different things, but they're all pretty much, in terms of reading them, they're all pretty much the same. You don't have to worry about them too much.
And a similar thing which ties in with that, there's a lot of characters on the keyboard which are nothing to do with the English language, but they're there for because they're used by programmers, right? So you have brackets, square brackets, triangle, or greater than, less than. I suppose they're useful in mathematics.
Well, see, a lot of them are. So, for instance, the different kinds of brackets. Again, and I only know this because I've been involved in both programming and in publishing, and they do have specific uses in publishing as well. For instance, the square brackets, you use them if you need to change a quote in any way. So if someone is saying, I go to the supermarket, and you're putting it into a sentence such that the word I doesn't really fit, and you have to say they go to the supermarket, you would put the they in square brackets. And again, there's different reasons that we would use the different dashes and the different hyphens and many of the different symbols. But for the most part, unless you are getting a job in publishing and you need to know how to do these things, you don't really need to worry about them as a general rule. If you really are interested, there are resources to help you find out, but it's not really something you need to worry about too much.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on then. Susanta says, "Sir, can we say by foot instead of on foot?" Well, yeah, you can. You could say, well, it depends on the context. So you could say, I'm going by foot. I'm going on foot. That's I guess they're pretty much interchangeable, aren't they?
So by foot is. So you would say on foot more when you're saying like I'm on foot. Like you don't usually say I'm going on foot. You say I'm on foot today. My car is down or something like that. It's more of your status, but they are very similar and for the most part pretty interchangeable.
Yeah. So by foot, I guess it's because foot is a noun, whereas walking is not a noun. So you can use it in a sentence where you want to use a noun. So you can go by car or by train or by plane or by foot.
Yes.
You don't say by walk. You could say by. Yeah. You wouldn't say by shoe.
No.
No.
I think by foot is probably, in most cases, that's going to be the better one to use.
Yeah. Yeah. So they are slightly different. They do have slightly different uses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have that have a meal or take a meal question that we also had last week.
Have dinner, take dinner. No, Well, we'll talk about that again. So you would normally say I have dinner. You don't say take dinner. Yeah,
taking food, taking tea, taking a meal is a little bit of an older, a little bit more formal way of saying things that's not nearly as common anymore. Again, I think that part of the issue is that a lot of English language textbooks and classes teach a very formal English that isn't really used anymore by native English speakers. And so I've seen take lunch, take dinner in a lot of English textbooks, but very few English-speaking people actually say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say take that. You would say take medicine.
Yes, you take medicine.
But take food is antiquated.
It's very antiquated. Occasionally you'll hear something like, will you take tea, in a very formal context, but even then...
Yeah, but even then I don't think you would, really.
It's not very common.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
See what else. Alia saying good day. Hello to you. Let's see. Kang is saying yes. I think everyone in the world wants to know English for sure. It's growing in popularity, isn't it? Alia is saying, so I do like it means that you emphasize it. So this is getting back to the question of when do you use the auxiliary verb in the simple tense. And the answer is there are several different reasons that you would do that. And those are the layers of complexity. The simplest answer is yes, you would use that to emphasize. Or if you are asking or answering a question. So if someone says, do you walk to work? Or do you like ice cream? You wouldn't say, yes, I walk, yes, I like. You say, yes, I do. Right?
Yeah.
And so either you're answering or asking a question, or if you are emphasizing, like, oh, I do like ice cream, right? Those are the two easiest, simplest reasons you would use it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so Kang has made a comment. Taking is present continuous. Now, so taking that's not a full sentence. So it's not. It doesn't have a tense. It's just a word. Right?
Yes.
Now, taking
exactly
is the ing form, which is used in the present continuous. But listen to this sentence. I like taking the bus. Now, what tense is that? Is that continuous? No, it's not. Even though we're using the ing form, the main verb is not taking. The main verb in that sentence is like.
And you're using it in present simple.
It's present simple. So what is take there? What is taking? That is what we call a gerund, the gerund form. That means that we're just using the ing form as like the name of the activity.
The name of the activity. Yeah.
So it's like turning a verb into a noun, I guess.
Right. Well, because actions have names too, right?
Yeah.
So, the action of run, the name of that is running. That's the word you use when you're talking about that action. The action of taking is, we say taking. And that's not the only one either. There are other times that you'll use the ing form of something. So, for instance, you could say, if you're talking about a person, you could say, the man taking out the garbage is my uncle, right? So taking, what's the tense of taking? It's not present continuous. So that's why we really want to focus on the auxiliary verbs instead of the main verbs, because the different forms of the main verbs, except for past simple form, which is one of those weird layers, they all have different uses that they're used for. And sometimes even when you are using the tense that they're named for, you don't actually use that form. For instance, like the past simple form of take, took, you don't always use took. You could say, if you ask someone, did you take your medicine? Okay, that's past simple, but you didn't use took. And you say, yes, I did take my medicine. Again, past simple, you did not use took, the past simple form of take. So we really want to, principal parts and the forms of the verb, that's the thing that has really been hammered as being what's most important to tense. But when you do that, then you get all of these exceptions. Yeah. To us, that's just one more layer that we want to dig underneath to find those simple rules that are underneath it.
Now, that's not to say that these things are not important and they're not worth learning, they're not worth knowing.
Yes.
They are. They absolutely are. It's just the purpose of this course of Inside English is to really get to the bare bones and to see how the language actually works. Because that's what I feel is lost a lot of the time because people focus a lot on learning all these other things, which are important, but some other things that are really, really important get forgotten about as a result. So going back to the comments, I think Fio was getting upset that we skipped one of his comments. I think he's referring to please make a video clip for English alphabets with British accent. Well, it's funny, there isn't really such a thing as the English alphabet, is there? The alphabet we use in English is Roman, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we use the Roman alphabet, but then, Spanish does as well, and it has the addition of a couple of different letters. So the English alphabet refers to our specific subset of the Roman alphabet. So you could go either way, I guess.
Yeah, but the problem with that is as well. Well, the problem with just making a video about the English alphabet and sort of going through the letters, you can't really do that because,
Yes.
English is not phonetic. Each letter can be pronounced in lots of different ways depending on what other letters are around it.
Yes.
So to cover all of that would take more than one video.
But you do have such videos.
Well, yeah, and the reason we have what's called the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, is to make sense of that. Is to sort of make sense of why, how are certain words actually pronounced, regardless of how they're spelled, and we look into the spelling as well. So, I've made probably 50 or 60 videos. So most of my most popular videos are all about that. But so I hope that answers your question, Fio. But if that doesn't, and there is something more specific that you would like me to make a video on, please let us know again, because I'm always interested to know, if there's what videos people want to see, if it's something I haven't already done.
For sure.
Yeah. So let's see. Have we got any other?
Let's see. I'm very I'm not the best at pronouncing some of these names, but Nguyen Thai Thu Huang was talking about phonetics. Phonetics is such a difficult. I think it's a weakness for a lot of different people. So you're definitely not alone. One of the things that we've talked about, it's actually something we've talked about in each one of our live streams so far. Even native English speakers sometimes struggle with phonetics because it's not something that's always taught, or it hasn't been taught at all times in history. Personally, I would recommend some of the first English Language Club videos on YouTube, the pronunciation ones, where Colin does a really great job of going through the different sounds. Like you were talking about the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, the ones that are used in English, and talking about how to pronounce them. Because one of the keys to phonetics, like you said, you can't really... Each letter does not have one pronunciation that it always uses. So you have to know how it's pronounced in different situations, depending on what other letters are used. But the key to pronunciation is really, it's physical. It's how you put your tongue, your teeth, how you move your mouth. So it is definitely a challenge.
Yeah, if you're making mistakes in pronunciation, the chance, it's a physical mistake. Your lips are not in the right shape. Your tongue is in the wrong place. You're trying to produce the sound through your tongue rather than through your teeth, or by pushing the airflow. It's always a physical thing, and that's why when we've broken down in all the videos where I break down every individual sound, I talk about the physicality of it.
Yes.
So yeah. I just want to mention Susanta. She's been quite active in the chat. That's great. there was something. She said, "Yes, sir. Do you have any community on Facebook?" Yeah, I do have a Facebook page. There is an English Language Club Facebook page. If you just search that, I have to confess I haven't put much on there for quite a long time. But it's just difficult. English Language Club is really just me, and Tony's helping me writing with the writing of this course. It's not something I do full time for a living or anything. I make a small amount of money from the YouTube ads, but really not very much. So yeah, I don't have a lot of time and resources. I'd love to be on every social media platform, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and putting really great stuff out. I've got loads of ideas for stuff that could work on all those platforms. It's just finding the time to do it, and really what we're doing at the moment, what I am doing at the moment with Tony is trying to give something to the audience that we've built, in a way that we can sort of make some money from it and get some resources so that we can start putting more time into it and building more of a community on Facebook and things. So yeah, check out the Facebook. Not much has happened there lately, but in the future I do want to. So yeah, get on there, make some comments. Let's try and get the community alive. Keep it alive, and let's turn it into something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see any other comments. Yeah, Suzanne again talks about how the alphabet is not phonetic.
And it's definitely so I'm interested in what language Alia Dua is talking about, saying that their alphabet represents sounds. I'm wondering if it's Russian. The English alphabet, the Roman alphabet, does actually represent sounds, but it's not consistent in English. And the reason is that it represents sounds from multiple different languages. So languages like French and German and some odder languages, not that the languages are odd, but they're more distantly related to English, all have to be represented there as well. So that's why you get multiple different sounds for each letters, and that the letter might be pronounced differently in different situations. So instead of representing each letter represents one sound, each letter represents a selection of sounds. If you're coming from Russian, it's similar to how the Malki znak and the Dvory znak can change the pronunciation. In English, though, we don't have specific letters that change the pronunciation. Instead, different combinations of letters change the pronunciation. But it's a very fascinating idea, the difference between how some alphabets represent sounds and how others do.
And I think I get a lot of views from people in Vietnam. If there's anyone in Vietnam, say hi. Because, sorry, I'm getting a call. There we are. And I think the reason is because Vietnamese is very phonetic, and their alphabet is very phonetic. So when I started making videos about international phonetic alphabet, that really resonated with them. That made sense to them and helped them to sort of learn English. So people are asking about where I'm from. I'm from the UK, as I said, and Tony is from Canada. I'm in the UK now. Canada, Tony is in Canada. We're not in the same room.
No.
We are. He's calling me on Skype. Technology. So let's see. Yeah, one's from the UK, the other from Canada. Fio's saying. How can you say thank you in a different way? How can you say thank you in a different way?
Well, the other word for thank is appreciate. In English, it's kind of the other main one. So oftentimes you'll say, I appreciate you, or I appreciate what you did, or I appreciate it, or that, or this,
Yeah.
right? So it's a little bit more formal, but it doesn't have to be. A lot of people will say, "I appreciate it," right, instead of
Another,
just
yeah,
thanks.
and another word would be is the word gratitude. So gratitude is a
Yes,
noun. And then the adjective form would be I'm grateful.
yes,
So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, if you click the like button, I will be very grateful.
yes. So appreciate as as a verb, or grateful as an adjective, or gratitude as like you have my gratitude. Um, so yeah, but I appreciate it, and I am grateful are probably the two most common, less formal sounding ways to say thank you, other than just thank you.
But to
That's an
be
interesting
honest,
question.
yeah, that is an interesting question. And to be honest, it's not like other things that we might want to express, like anger or something. There's lots of ways, lots of things we could say to express that. I mean, thank you really is head and shoulders above. You know, it's by far the most important and most common one to say. I mean,
Yeah,
to start saying "I'm grateful" instead of "thank you," you might sound a little bit strange.
yeah,
And often we would use them with "thank you,"
yeah.
just to sort of be more emphatic, to
Yes,
emphasize.
thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting question. Let's have a look.
So we're getting a
You could
lot of
say
people
thanks. I appreciate.
saying
Yeah.
that how grateful they are. That's great.
Okay. Good. Thanks for all the information you give. You're welcome. Thank you for watching, and thank you for clicking the like button. um, so Fioza, I know you do have a Facebook page, but I think you didn't use it. Yeah, like I said, I just haven't really had the time, and I feel like Facebook isn't as important as it used to be a few years ago. But yes, I do want to use it. So I do have an Instagram as well, but the Instagram is in my own personal name. It's Colin Munro. Let me check. I think it's Colin. If you want to find me on Instagram, let's see. What is it? Have you got Instagram, Tony?
I do not. No.
Yeah, it's so my Instagram is Colin A Munro, but it's a personal one. I have posted a lot of things there about phonetics and things like that, and I have been posting things about these live streams in my story. So if anyone is here who's seen those from Instagram, please let me know, because it'd be good to know that that is working. But yeah, I do want to set up. I do have another account on Instagram for the English Language Club, but I haven't actually got it set up properly and everything yet. Again, down to lack of resources. At the moment, all the resources we have are going into the writing this course, and well, once a week, do it for the last few weeks doing these live streams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some more comments about the thank you versus appreciate. Fio is saying that he thinks the word thank you is very simple, and that's not necessarily emphatic, and so maybe appreciate or grateful would be better. And sometimes, this is very important, sometimes sounding more formal isn't better. Most people don't use formal language, and in fact, I would agree with Colin that thank you is probably the strongest. It's the most common,
Yeah.
but it is probably the strongest way of being grateful or of appreciating someone. It's the most basic, the most core to how you feel. Susanta is also, I think it was Susanta, pointed out that she hears people say thank you too. And this is interesting. Like, why, for instance, you know, when someone is accepting an award, they don't say, I want to thank my mother. They say, I want to say thank you to my mother. And, you know, why do we say thank you to someone else who's not there instead of saying thank him or thank her? And you can say, I want to thank him, or I want to thank Colin. But because that thank you is so core,
Yeah.
that it's what you're taught as a child. You say thank you. It's just the most core, and I think the strongest. There's something about just saying thank you by those words that really is the most emphatic, and that's why you wind up hearing people say, I want to say thank you to my mother, I want to say thank you to my teachers.
But obviously,
right?
there's lots of different ways you can say it. You can express
Yes.
different levels of emphasis in how you say it. So saying, "Oh, thank you," is not not very emphatic, but saying, "Oh, thank you so much. That's wonderful." That is more emphatic. So. You can show more emphasis and say it in different ways by your tone, but also adding things on the end.
Adding things. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and saying not just saying I appreciate, I'm grateful, but saying what it was that you appreciated. I'm grateful for your effort. Yes, Alia said that she appreciates our time and effort, right? Like that's exactly how you make it more emphatic. You say what it was that you liked about it. Yeah. And Fio, no, I don't really use social media very much. I do have a Twitter. It's under FT Kulpa, but I don't really use social media very much myself.
Yeah. So like I said, hopefully in the
change.
future we'll have more of a presence, get more stuff out there. Like I said, I've got lots of ideas. It's just a question of time. Right now, the priority's inside English. I've lost where I got to in the comments, but let's see. Thank you. Lots of okay. The accent. So, Segogin says. I'm sorry if I get your name wrong. The accent between A and O is a tough one, though. Yeah, well. So the pronunciation of those letters when they're written in English, yes, is very different because it's so inconsistent. English is very inconsistent in the pronunciation, especially with the vowels. They can be pronounced in lots of different ways. So, I don't think we really have the time to get into all of those things now, and off the top of my head I wouldn't be able to do that subject justice. But I've made videos on the
Absolutely.
the A vowel and the O and the O sound. Check out all the videos I've done on the vowel sounds, and you'll get a lot of help with and you'll see a lot of examples of how those letters are pronounced in different ways.
Yes. And a lot of times, if you're having trouble, specifically, for instance, with A and O, don't be too hard on yourself because sometimes they do sound the same. If you're not talking about the long sounds, like obviously an A sound sounds very different from a long O sound, but they're short sounds. I mean, A kind of has two main ones: the sort of an ah sound, like as in apple, and the ah as in father. And that ah sound is very similar to O's short sound. It's similar enough that many people in the different parts of the English-speaking world will pronounce them exactly the same. And then, of course, the very short, the schwa sound that is very common in English, like the A in about. It's such a short sound that it doesn't matter whether you're pronouncing it like the A or like the O. So on the one hand, yes, those can be very difficult. But on the other hand, when they sound very similar, you don't have to worry as much about whether you're getting them one way or the other. Yeah.
Susanna says, "What's your real job other than teaching both of you?" Well, so I am still working full time. I work in I won't say the name of the company, but I work for a very large e-commerce company. You might be able to guess which one it is. I do that 4 days a week, and then I try to recover from that and do as much of this as I can the rest of the time. And Tony, you're
I'm a teacher primarily, but I do lots of things. I do programming, I do editing, I do writing. So yeah.
Yeah.
Several different things.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do more of this. I'd love to spend more of my time. I mean, my vision for English Language Club is that we would have, 3 or 4 teachers and a video editor, and we'd have a studio, and we would do like 3 or 4 different live streams a day and put out lots of videos every week, and be much more active on all the social media platforms and have lots of different courses. And although it's sort of the English Language Club has existed since I think 2011 is when I first started. It's really sort of been on the back burner, and then I've had a bit of another phase of making a batch of videos, and then it's sort of back on the back burner again. It's never something I've been able to make a living from. And I have done a lot of teaching as well. I do teach online a little bit as well. I've got a few students at the moment that I do in my some of my spare time. But really, I don't want to do too much of that. I don't want to do too much of just sort of selling my time. I'm more interested in building the English Language Club into a community. Like I said, that
everyone can take advantage of.
Yeah, something that everyone. Yeah. I'd rather spend an hour like this with. We've got 23 people watching right now, but it could be. We could have 1,000 people watching in the future at any one time. I'd kind of prefer to do that than spend. I'd prefer to spend my time now building to that stage rather than doing one-on-one classes all the time. Although I quite like doing a few of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So, any other?
We got an
comments?
interesting question. Segu again, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. This is talking about the incoherence of English grammar and phonetics. And again, I think that's really what we're excited about with this Inside English course, is we're kind of skipping all of the things that don't make sense, because we really feel that if you drill down and you understand how these core ideas do work, it's going to make everything else make more sense.
Yeah.
It's
not that those things don't make sense. They do make sense on their own. When you learn, it's just
more sense.
They make English make less sense when you try to learn too many things all at the same time. They're layers on top of the core, and Inside English, the course is about stripping those layers away and looking just at the core, to strengthen the foundational knowledge of how English actually works.
Yes. And I think that the idea of that is it's going to change the way you see all those other things. I'm a big believer in even things like English phonetics and the all of the exceptions. There is a logic to it all. There are reasons. Sometimes the reasons are historical rather than grammatical. But that's part of what makes it fascinating to me. But I really think that if you understand these core ideas, it's going to make everything else fit together better. It's going to make everything else make more sense and be easier to remember, right? I think maybe at some point in the future, it would be great to do a similar, like, Inside English sort of focus on phonetics, because, again, there are rules, and there are some simple rules that make everything else fit together. That's not, again, we've got a lot of resources on the English Language Club channel right now for pronunciation. And maybe that's something we could continue to do in the future as well. Let's see what else we got.
Fio's asking, you two should talk about your education background. We'd like to know. Well, yeah, I can start. I'll tell you a little bit about me. So, I actually went to university to study film and video production, and this was in 2002. So this is before YouTube existed. The internet was a very different place back then. I was focused on, making sort of films and TV things, and that was what I wanted to do. And I did work in that industry for The Prisoner of Azkaban. The company I worked for was called Frame Store, and on that film we did the hippogriff, which is the creature that's half horse, half eagle. So I was involved with that in a very small way.
Buckbeak.
Buckbeak was its name, yeah. At the same time, we were also working on a movie called Thunderbirds. We did all the sort of aircraft and spaceships on Thunderbirds. And at the same time, we were also working on the movie Troy with Brad Pitt. We did all the boats on Troy.
Wow.
So
That's a lot of boats.
yeah. We did a lot of. I did some interesting stuff. I was really pleased with that. But the movie industry is tough. There's a lot of people working in it who want to work in it, and there's a lot of money in the industry, but it's, at those sort of bottom levels, because there's so many people that want to get in, you have to be willing to kind of work for cheap or work for free. So it's tough, and I kind of got sick of it, to be honest. And then I started up my own business in around like 2005 with a couple of friends of mine, and we were making videos. We were focusing on music. Like we were looking for like music artists that wanted to have like music videos made. And so probably the most famous person I made a music video for is a guy called Newton Faulkner, who you may have heard of. He's quite famous in the UK. I don't know if he's that famous abroad. But yeah. So I did a video for Newton Faulkner. And we did various other things. We did do some work with the BBC, which all came out of our sort of targeting music. And then I remember one of the bands that we worked with was a band of like 15-year-old kids, and I remember this. I remember this because it was in a meeting with that band. It was the drummer of the band who first told me about YouTube. So so YouTube was becoming a thing. He was saying, "Oh yeah, there's this music video. You could watch it on YouTube." And we were like, "What? What's YouTube?" This is like 2006 when YouTube had literally just launched. This is months after YouTube had launched. So that we had this bit of video business in looking at you, and YouTube just launched, and we sort of, I think, we saw the opportunity before it was there, really, and we tried to go for it before it was really there. And we wrote to lots of politicians and things saying that they should use YouTube, and most of them ignored us. However, one of us, the first ever member of parliament in the UK to have their own YouTube channel, did so because of us. And
really?
We managed it. It was a guy called Derek Wyatt. His videos are still online. And in our downtime, we actually had our own YouTube channel, which was all about, we used to keep chickens in our garden, which is quite an unusual thing to do. So those videos are still online. If you search for Giving It a Go, you'll get to see what I looked like 12, 13 years ago. You'll see my videos about keeping chickens in a small garden in London. That was the first time we actually did something on YouTube that actually kind of gathered some momentum and got some popularity. Although the number of views it got is nothing compared to what a lot of YouTube channels get now.
But the total number of people on YouTube was a lot smaller too.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it was a different time, but things were starting to get noticed. But again, we struggled to make a living. It was fun. And I just felt like it wasn't really going anywhere. So I wanted to travel. I decided to do a little bit of traveling. I've got some relatives in South America, so I went to sort of visit Paraguay and try and learn Spanish, and that is how I got into teaching English. So I sort of put my filmmaking completely behind me when I moved to Paraguay and started teaching English. But it was very soon after that my filmmaking came back, caught up,
Yes.
It caught up with me. And I started the English Language Club in 2011. It was also in Paraguay where I met Tony, because you were in Paraguay teaching at a school, which is near where I lived. Do you wanna go back a bit and bring us up to that point again?
Oh well, we do have a sort of an interesting combination of education backgrounds. My undergraduate degrees are in mathematics and computer science, and my master's degree is in ancient languages. So I kind of approach this from the rules and logic and order perspective on languages. I've always really loved how languages fit together, how different languages influence each other, the kind of the cool rules behind all of that, and especially history and the history of languages and where all of these old languages come from. I've for instance, I studied Aramaic, which is a modern language, but I studied the ancient form of it, and I've run into people who speak Arabic, and I'm able to understand a lot of that just because Arabic came from ancient Aramaic, and things like this. So I've always been into that sort of thing. I also sort of got into teaching. It's actually a really funny story. I got into teaching almost by accident. A school in Haiti called me up one day and asked me, "Hey, have you ever considered coming and teaching in Haiti?" And it was a bit of a non sequitur, but I said, "Sure, yeah, that sounds interesting." And a few weeks later, I was teaching in Haiti, and I've been teaching in small schools all over the world for most of the time since then. I was teaching at a small school in Asuncion, Paraguay, when I met the illustrious and renowned Colin Monroe.
I remember the day we met. It was I think it was the 5th of November, because
Yes, it was.
it was a bonfire. You were like
Clever that you remember it.
setting fire to some wood, some wood round the back of the school to celebrate Guy Fawkes Night.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't remember what year. That must have been 2015.
No, before 2015,
13?
but 2013, 2000. I arrived in 2012, so it could have easily been I think it must have been, because since it was Guy Fawkes Night, it must have been November 2012. Wait, is that right? 2013, maybe 2013, something like that. And yeah, you were doing card tricks. Many people don't know this, but Colin Monroe is an accomplished magician.
Yes. That's an exaggeration. It's yes. Anyway, so Aaliyah says, "I genuinely love your duet. It's not so usual and common in internet platform. You have this uniqueness. May God help you to succeed." Well, thank you. Yeah, I do hope. I mean, I'll tell you this. Tony is one of the smartest people I've ever met. So, you know, and I've wanted to get back into making YouTube videos, and I've really wanted to make this course for a long time. And if it wasn't for Tony helping me, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So, yeah, thank you, Tony.
Well, I'm very excited. I think that the English Language Club has already done so much. And I'm really excited for what is still yet to come.
Yeah. So I know. Yeah, I really hope that as a team we can achieve a lot more than either of us could on our own. And I'm really glad to have everybody who's here. You know, in the early days, because hopefully this is just the beginning, and things will be huge in a few years' time. Let's see. Earthman, hello guys, I'm an English teacher. Great, teachers online. I really enjoy your videos and lessons, as we can all learn something from somebody else. Anyway, I'd be happy to join your team online. Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I do want to get other teachers on board and things. And I'd also encourage other teachers to do their own things on YouTube.
Absolutely.
And on Instagram and on other platforms. I've worked with there's a girl called Emma. She's got a YouTube channel called Pronunciation with Emma. You should definitely check that out. She's really good, and she actually lives not too far away from me. So when I got my YouTube 100,000 subscribers plaque, I invited her to come and be with me to do the live stream when I opened it up. So I hope to do some more things with her, and I'd love to do things with other people as well. We're all we can all help each other. So yeah, get in touch through the website. So let's have a look. Phonetics, intonation, stress, linking sounds. I'm really afraid of them. Yeah, those are subjects. My videos on phonetics have mainly focused on just the phonetic symbols and the different sounds. I haven't gone so much into those topics that you're talking about. However, I know that pronunciation with Emma on her channel, she has. So if you want to check, if you Google those topics, I'm sure some of her videos will come up, and she's really good. So make sure you check her videos out. And yeah, in the future, I would like to. At the moment, we're focusing on this grammar course, but we will come back to pronunciation as well at some point in the future. Believe me, Fio says, believe me that I will share this to everyone who's interested in English. Well, thank you, Fio. You've been, I think you were here last week as well, so you're one of our most regular viewers, most dedicated viewers, so thank you. I really appreciate it. I was just thinking about how we were talking about saying thank you earlier on, but that's genuine. I'm not just modeling ways to say thank you. No, I am genuinely grateful, Fio, and to Gaspar, who was here earlier. He's one of our sort of members on YouTube, and there was someone else who I did name at the time. We've got you can join the English Language Club on YouTube, and you will get access to a few extra videos, sort of behind the scenes things, and in the future, maybe when there's some more members, I might do some members only live streams and things like that. So if that's something of interest to you, if you do want to support us so that in the future we will be able to do more of this, then that would be awesome if you want to do that. Let's see. Any other comments? Ooh. Tony, have you got any comments stood out to you?
We got the fact that you're a movie star, definitely. Fio invited us to Myanmar. Kang apparently liked your chickens. Susanta was remarking about how helpful the app is.
Right.
And how useful it is when they forget the sounds. That's very, very true, very important.
I mean,
so if you don't know about the app,
the app is a very simple, just
go ahead.
Phonetic chart that you press the button. I'll bring it up on my phone. You press the button, you press the phonetic sound, and it will play that sound. You press the phonetic symbol, and it will play that sound. It's very simple. There's lots of apps out there like that. I think though mine is the best, obviously, but also no. Seriously though. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of resources to do this, so I just found someone on the internet who could make this for me, there you go. Because I don't have many resources, it's very simple. That's all it is. Basically, you I'll make sure the volume's up. You press the sound. And it makes the sound. So if you're struggling with phonetics, that could be really useful to you. It's very simple, very lightweight. It doesn't do anything else other than that. So you're not going to get annoyed with it if that's what you want it to do. So thank you, Suzanne. So I'm glad you found that useful.
Pio is shout out to all the computer science people out there. Earthman is remember the 5th of November. Yes, the Guy Fawkes night. Ishraq is an English student at the university in Algeria. Very exciting. Ramadan Mubarak to everybody. Igor has this very interesting quote. There's no science but history, from Hell. Yes, like that many different the explanations behind things, including phonetics, lie in the history of its formation and development. So true, and a lot of the mysteries that many people say there's no way to understand this. Really, the answer just comes from history. Ishraq, you see that you ask us to talk about assimilation and disassimilation. I don't think we have time for that today, but definitely we'll remember to bring that up in another one of our live streams, just to mention how big of an impact that has on English, because I think that it is particularly of use to people that are learning English and trying to figure out how they should be pronouncing words and things like that. So let's definitely bring that up another time.
Yeah, and so Gauguin is another teacher, a high school teacher. So
that's great.
Really important. So I do really like the teaching that I'm doing online. I want to do more of it because I feel like, of all the things I do with my time, it's the one thing that's like the most kind of positive impact on humanity. And I think that is what we should all be striving to do, to be a positive impact on humanity, to leave the world in a better place than when we found it. So teaching is one of the best ways to do that. Yeah. Great. Well, it's been about an hour. It's been over an hour, especially when you consider the problems that we had. So if you are watching, we've still got 19 people watching. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I genuinely mean that. And we'll definitely do this again next week. And hopefully we're going to spend a little bit more time writing this week than we have done in the past. So we should have a lot more progress to report to you guys. And you'll see a few changes on the website. The name of the course will change and things like that. But please do check out the website. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like the videos so that YouTube will keep reminding you when we're or notifying you when we do another live stream. There's also a mailing list you can subscribe to. That's another platform that I haven't utilized as much as I would like to have done, but get on there anyway, because we will start sending more emails in the future. And someone's just saying, please tell us the name of your app. It's only on Android, unfortunately. It's not on iOS. But if you just search for English Language Club in iOS in the Android Play Store, then you should find it. Gaspar's still there. Gaspar, thank you both of you for your dedication. Well, thank you for your dedication. One of our top paid up members. So thank you.
What helps us to be able to keep doing this.
Great. Okay. Well,
and Igor brings up some suggestions for the app, and yes, we are still going to be working on it, but we do want it to be very lightweight so that anybody can run it and that it doesn't take up a lot of space or constantly annoy people with.
Yeah, it's got to be useful. I don't want to add so many features that it becomes more difficult to use and things. And anyway, like I said, it's really not the main focus at the moment. The main focus is the course and the website, because I want to do more of this. And to do more of this, I need to make some money from it. So the course is a way that we can do that. The next thing we can try. So thank you very much. And I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Yep.